Hello and welcome to another episode of Secrets and Mysteries. This is episode 49, The Origins of the Medical Symbol. This is part of a series on symbology that I'm going to be doing for a while, and I wanted to start off with this one because this is the one that really got me interested in doing the series to begin with. There's a lot to unfold here, and without further ado, I'm going to get into the thumbnail page. All wisdom stems from first the acquisition, and then the correct application, and then the creative application of knowledge. So I'm going to kick off this symbology and symbolism series with a study of the medical symbol and all of its roots, its origins, and its mysteries discussed in brief so that we can have a working knowledge of where this symbol comes from and what it means and what it meant in the past. One of the things I found when studying the origins and meanings of symbols is that they tend to change over time. Even the meanings of words within languages tend to do that. And, you've seen some of that in your own lifetime. So it's not too surprising that when you study this out, anything when it comes to symbols, that you'll find that there's a lot of cross-referencing. And it can become confusing. But it just requires a lot of study. That's all, really. One of the things you may or may not know is that the one creature that has been venerated or celebrated, worshipped, or made part of religious practices in just about every religion that's ever existed is the serpent. That is the one creature above all others that has sort of an equal place in all of the non-monotheistic and the monotheistic religions combined. And I'm talking, no matter where you look, whether it's a very ancient or even, remote religious belief system, the serpent is prominent. And that is one of the reasons why it ended up on the medical symbol. And I will explain. First, you need to know, and probably some of you do, that there is an associative bloodline related to the serpent that is attached to just about every religious and historical background that human beings have recorded and or can access. And that is some type of relationship between the dragon, the serpent, and the aspects of human beings. One of the first examples of that is Mushussu. That's spelled Mushussu. And this is a depiction of this particular deity who was a black dragon. And of course, that's about as ominous as it's supposed to sound. This also ties into, of course, Judeo-Christian beliefs about the origins of the serpent going all the way back to Genesis, which the origins thereof are something like 7,000 years old. This vase, dating back to around the 21st century BCE, is an example of the worship and the veneration of the serpent. And even there, you can see that there are two serpents intertwined around a pole. And that is emblematic of the progression from this meaning to the medical meaning of today. This vase is called the Gudea libation vase. And it's a tribute to the Babylonian god Ningishzida, spelled Ningishzida. Ningishzida. You can see where some of these other symbols approximate the same meaning, where you have the snake wrapped around the chalice, the snake wrapped around the pole, and then you have the god Ningishzida holding a pole with a snake wrapped around it. Now, the dating of these artifacts, the one to the right and the vase that I just showed you, were done with dating methodologies that are not super accurate. But that's not really important. What is important is to understand how the symbol has come to mean what it means today. Here's a symbol you might see on an ambulance, right? And basically you have this serpent wrapped around a pole. And this concept of that being a healing ideology comes from, not too surprisingly, the Bible. And it comes from several books of the Old Testament. In different books of the Old Testament, Moses' people, the Israelites, were being harassed and even killed by the people that were of the dragon, of the fiery flying dragon. And these enemies were, of course, Luciferian or of the bloodline of fallen angels, which would make them Nephilim, or in some interpretations, Raphaim. So God commanded that Moses make the Nehushtan, which is a bronze pole with a serpent on it. And people would, who wanted to be protected from these fiery serpents that were attacking them, would look upon this bronze pole with the serpent upon it. Those who did so, those who obeyed Moses' order to look upon this serpent, would be protected from the bites of the fiery serpents. And that's where the idea, the concept of the medical symbol was born. The idea that protection would be gained by those who gazed upon this symbol. And it goes a little deeper than that. You may know that Moses carried a staff that when he threw it on the ground would become a serpent. And that is absolutely emblematic of the idea that within a straight and upright man, inside and around this man is the contamination of the blood of fallen angels, aka serpents, so that when a man falls to the ground, he becomes a serpent. And to look upon that, to recognize that, to be aware of that, will protect you from falling upon the ground and becoming the serpent self that you are. So it's basically an acknowledgement of the fact that there's sin within you, and to be wary of it, to look at it, to understand it. And in that way, you can be protected from temptation, i.e. the bite of the fiery serpent. And of course, this doesn't just free your spirit and soul from being subject to temptation and sin, but more importantly, gives you eternal life, gives you health, gives you vitality that is a protection against even the most potent powers of the world in a negative sense. So you are protected from those negative powers. And that's basically the meaning behind the symbol. Over time, this emblem became adopted by the medical community, globally, by the way, as an understood meaning that, this duality of the upright man, the healthy man, and the death of the serpent is now being projected into, if you look at this and you think of this as a cross, right? And, you've got the wings, representative of eternal life of a person who has passed on, right? And then you've got the upright pole, which is the upright man. And then you've got the temptations of the serpent in the world. There's also physical symbology here. There's some this is sort of like a uterus. It's sort of like a phallic symbol. It's also the two thieves on each side of Christ on the crucifixion. So there's a lot going on here. You'll also see that there's a number of turns and twists here. That actually varies by interpretation of the image. You'll see many different numbers of twists there. You'll also see variants to where, the wings are a different shape and a bunch of other different things. But these are all derivatives of the same essential package of concepts. And going back in history again, you'll see that this goes back to one of the Babylonian gods who was basically the god of the forest and the god of the, quote, good tree, right? Well, the good tree in a pagan sense is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that Eve and Adam and Lucifer all participated in the Bible in Genesis. And you see some of that symbology built right into this symbol here, right? With the uterine symbology and the phallic symbology. This is the knowledge of good if you are pagan, and the knowledge of good and evil if you are a Christian. And it has the ability to provide both of those sets of meanings. So there's a lot to this, and this is sort of the reason why I wanted to tackle this symbol right off the bat was because this is going to be emblematic of the types of uncovery or discovery I intend to do with these various symbols. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please like and subscribe and share the video. And I will see you next time on Secrets and Mysteries.